Organizations in Africa, I mean, in the end, you're going to need to help your potential customers have imagination. As I said earlier, have to imagine what's possible in ways that they're not aware of. In other parts of the world, there are associations of concrete manufacturers and associations of rubber makers and associations of bankers. And in those associations, organizational leaders share ideas and share how they've solved their problems. I think the Africa continent is not as strong in that regard, and so the leaders of the concrete companies and the rubber companies and the finance companies don't have the same kind of strong network and strong support from colleagues that other parts of the world have. And as a result, the exchange of ideas isn't as rich. And you don't have an annual conference at the Bankers Association where two bankers stand up and say, oh, we did this great project and we hired an OD person. Or the Concrete Manufacturers Association where a consultant and the director might come together and report to the Concrete Association convention how they've done their work. The Africa continent doesn't have that kind of strong sectoral support or strong social and networking support. So the places where OD ideas get exchanged, where imagination gets planted in potential customers, aren't as many as in Africa as they are in Europe and elsewhere. I think organizations in Asia have had much of the same problem as well. So how to bring OD into the mainstream is to figure out ways, maybe through your local business association or your local professional association. When they do have meetings, offer to make a presentation on your work so that where the business leaders are, you can explain to them the kind of work that you do. Figuring out how to help your clients imagine what's possible, and imagine not only that things can be better, but that they can be better when they let the workers who are affected make the changes, or at least recommend the changes, is the biggest failure of imagination that I think you'll have to overcome on the continent. I'm hoping that some of the research that some of you as doctoral students will do is around how do we create a social system for OD practitioners on the continent, and how do we create a social system for business leaders on the continent. And if there are associations for business leaders on the continent, how can OD get in front of them to make presentations and to do some marketing? I think that would be a powerful bit of research to be done either for a master's project or for dissertation research. And I encourage each of you to think about that, and hopefully Dr. Justine will also keep that in mind as he is advised. Because, let me tell you why, you do that research and you will have figured out the roadmap to how to expand your own consulting practice and that of everybody else who reads your dissertation. So give some thought to making that your research domain.
Good evening, good afternoon, Dr. Christine, Dr. Makuku. I see Yvonne from Zimbabwe.
Good
Welcome
evening.
to this briefing. Good to have you.
Thank you.
Good evening. Hello, everyone.
Very well.
Hello.
Great, great.
Hiya.
Hello.
We have some colleagues who are joining us on Facebook, and we're just going to make this maybe a 45 minutes session, focusing on discussing our model as the Organization Leadership and Development Network, what we are doing, and where we see ourselves going in terms of improving. We believe we are a forever young organization because we nurture curiosity. We always seek to grow in everything that we do. And we look forward to have the members or individuals who interact with us also nurturing that continuous curiosity and desire for continuous growth in whatever we do. So I'm just going to unpack what we have done so far as a network, as a professional network, and also the engagements that we continue to have as a professional network. Because we are not in the business of making workshops and presentations, but we are in the business of leading social change in our communities. And if what we are doing is not leading to that social change and facilitating socioeconomic transformation, then we are not adding any value to the different countries that we are represented and also to the members that are joining the network that we are working on. So the session today will focus on our membership model, the different membership segments, and our affiliations, key milestones in terms of what we have achieved so far as a professional network and with regards to our certifications, and also our continuous efforts to engage different stakeholders. For example, in Zimbabwe, we have been engaging the Ministry of Industry and Commerce. We have engaged the Ministry of Women Affairs. We have also engaged and sent our documents to the Ministry of Higher and Tertiary Education as a way to say we are a professional community that is there to profile Africa globally and also to be significant in at the international forum. And we'll talk about our international chapters and the need to see those international chapters waking up to the call and engaging in the type of social change that we want to see as a network and that we want to see among individual members, and the thrust of our upcoming events and all the engagement that we are doing. So as a community, we are guided by the need to cultivate get-flying mindsets. And why we prefer a get-flying mindset is because we want to provoke social change in the different areas of our lives, in our institutions, at family level, at individual level. We need to move away from social politeness, which has destroyed a lot of organizations and a lot of social groupings. We go into a lot of presentations. Dr. Justin makes a presentation, and just because it's Dr. Justin, he's one of us. Dr. Makuku will say, "Oh, well done, Dr. Justin. This is a very good presentation." Again, we go to another presentation tomorrow. Dr. Makuku makes a presentation. Just because she's my colleague, I stand up, I say, "No, it's a good presentation," without actually critiquing the conversations that we are having and without actually deepening the analysis of whatever we are doing. So a get-flying mindset moves us away from social politeness because we will understand that we are professionals. If I critique Dr. Makuku's presentation, as a professional, she understands where I'm coming from and what we want to achieve. But we have seen a bunch of presentations, and we have also conducted a bunch of presentations since we have started. And from where I stand, we are also falling into the social politeness. where we just say it's a good presentation, and we close the chapter. So as a network, we need gadfly mindsets and say, after every conversation, what are the implementation plans? We have held our international forums, and those forums should facilitate more conversations, more engagements with the relevant authorities, and lead real socioeconomic transformation. Or else we end up just doing conversations, workshops, seminars with no value added. And we also need to ignite insightful conversations where people go into their homes and they get into so much conversations about what is happening around them, how change can be facilitated in their different engagements, what needs to be done in our organizations to really lead real social and economic transformation. We have had a number of us conducting trainings and workshops in different organizations year in, year out. And most of those training programs are just surface level engagements, which are failing to ignite insightful conversations and move our organizations, our societies, and our communities forward. So the OLDN model is premised on putting together scholar practitioners and moving away from social politeness, moving away from ordinary level of scholarship, where we publish articles, and Dr. Justin has 200 articles published in international journals. Yet the 200 articles that I have published, I don't know anything about them, and I'm not implementing them in any way. So we need a model that brings enlightened scholar practitioners and say, when Dr. Justin publishes a research, that research should be implemented in one way or the other, or else Dr. Justin should not mention about that research. And we are facilitating collaborations with different institutions. And we appreciate the International Society for Organization Development and Change for accommodating us and supporting all our efforts. And it's a standard that we need to be at as an institution that is coming from Africa and that is trying to disrupt professional membership in Africa and enlightening professionals to the realities of their professions. We also appreciate Dr. Christine for facilitating our affiliation or MOU with UNICAF. And this affiliation should also push us as members to align to the standard of UNICAF as a global university and to think at that level. And this means we need to re-look at our areas of engagement and how we practice whatever we do in our different organizations, because we are not only representing OLDN from Zimbabwe, but we are representing ISODC in the US, we are representing UNICAF University, not only UNICAF University in Zambia, but UNICAF University International. We are also working with the Institute of Emergent Change and OD, where I sit with Dr. Dotun and Patrick Trottier from Canada every week. We sit with him for 2 to 3 hours under the mentorship program in order to advance emergent organization development and emergent change. We are also being supported by Nicole Heyman in Switzerland, one of the top-notch Europe leadership development experts. And again, we need to capitalize on that and develop ourselves as an international network of scholars and practitioners, and look up to the values that these institutions are pushing for, and we uphold ourselves to those values. We are currently in 21 countries, and this again puts more pressure on us as a network to say, what are we doing in terms of cross-collaboration across these countries? What are we doing in terms of understanding the dynamics of OD change and whatever is happening in Zambia? And how does that connect to what is happening in Nigeria? How does that connect to what is happening in Afghanistan? And then we use that information to profile ourselves as a network. And it's something that I personally, where I stand, I am proud of, to have an institution from Zimbabwe making significant international impact, to have members in different parts that we are represented in Africa and working up to the call of professionalism and being enlightened professionals and representing Africa across the globe. I'll talk about the conference where we are invited in the US. We're a small professional network from Zimbabwe, but we will be presenting there with other colleagues from China, from US, from Lebanon, and different other parts of the world. And our mission is to profile Africa as a network or as an organization that has its roots in Africa, but making significant international influence across the globe. And this does not only need Dr. Justin or Dr. Christine or Dr. Dotun or Dr. Violet, it needs everyone who subscribes to the mission of OLD and COLD to awaken to their professions and to start acting in a way that leads social change and socioeconomic transformation in different areas. We are mission critical in our approach. That's why we are not asking people to pay money at the moment. It's not because we don't need money. We do need money, but our model is premised on people who are transformational in their mindset. And then we talk about the financial aspect of our operations at a later stage. We are supposed to be having a membership fee, but we need to implement a membership fee when we have committed scholar practitioners, people who awaken themselves to the mission, and people who drive the mission in their own circles or spheres of influence. And we create platforms for information exchange. And this is what sets us apart. And the conversations that we try to facilitate should have that 80% focus on the alternatives and 20% focus on problems. And we need to have these forums facilitating socioeconomic change in different parts of the world. And it's going to be a bit difficult for some of us because we are coming from the grassroots. We don't have the connections that our colleagues could have in other parts of the world or even in my country. For me to walk into certain offices and say, I'm Dr. Justin and we are leading this project, I don't have those connections and I don't value them. But I believe where there is a will, there is a way. And what we are doing is pushing the development agenda through the field that we represent. So I spoke of these affiliations, and we are receiving a lot of calls to have affiliations with different other institutions, which I boldly decline because we need to add value to the two affiliations that we currently have. And we need to see our members actively engaging and proposing certain ways to engage with different institutions that we are currently aligned with, and find ways to have, currently we have around 170 members, ways around seeing the 170 members being recognized globally and making a significant impact in their professions from whatever background that you are in. So the details of the affiliations are there on our website, detailing why we got into these affiliations. And we have signed documents with ISODC and UNICAF. The other partnerships are just mutual agreements to say we are working together, and we are not putting pen to paper on those agreements because we want to be bound by only the two affiliations with ISODC and UNICAF as we add value to the network in whatever we are doing. Our governance structure, even though we sound small as an institution, we are working with an advisory council, and the advisory council is a team of mentors, people we look up to say, this is what we expect the junior scholars and practitioners on our network to use these people as mentors. And these are people who are accessible at any point in time to have a conversation. People can reach out from our network, connect with Dr. Makuku, and seek guidance on whatever areas of engagement that you might need. And we need those engagements to be so professional and to demonstrate the values that we represent. So our team of advisory council members are the people we look up to as a network. And we expect those on our network to engage with each of these individuals, seeking professional guidance and collaborating on different ways and learning from their experiences. We also have a board of young professionals who are committed to driving socioeconomic change, who are committed to the mission that we have. And they had their meeting last week. We are waiting for their board resolutions for implementation. So this is our governance and admin structure, which also includes the international directors where we need to start seeing conversations in different countries. And for us, we don't want to be on the front page of the newspaper. We just want people to sit down and have conversations that are transformational. We don't care newspapers. We don't need to be on television and be seen all over the show. We want international directors in different countries to sit with their members and engage in conversations that are transformational, and we lead that socioeconomic transformation. And again, our membership segment, where we have 8 segments, members in their different segments, and we expect those in banking to lead in the banking field. We expect those who are in community and organization capacity development to lead in their different engagements. And at the moment, the engagements are still so worrisome in terms of seeing bankers on our network speaking banking. We are yet to see those in education speaking education and demonstrating their research and the application of their research. Yes, we are posting that Dr. Justin has published an article, but if it's a matter of publishing an article for contemporary scholarship, it's a waste of time and it doesn't add any value. So we need to start seeing those in HR leading HR conversations, those in education demonstrating research and how they are applying their research and being role models for the application of their research. Those in executive coaching, we need to see the models and tools that they are using to lead in executive coaching and in leadership development programs, rather than just the noise that we make on social media to say, I'm a coach, I'm a leader, I'm a scholar, I'm a what, without actually seeing the transformational value on the ground. So we need that challenge among the 170 plus of us on the network to actually demonstrate impact in the fields that we represent. Yes, you might have a big title in your organization, but if the title is not producing the social change, the transformations that we want to see in your field, then it's a waste of time. We're just going through the same drain and deepening old paradigms without bringing any real transformation. So we want a community of scholars and practitioners who are really transformation focused and who develop case studies to say, this is what I did when I was doing a leadership development program. This is the conversation I had with an executive, and this is the results that we see. And I have examples of people like Nicole Heyman, who is part of our advisory council. They do showcase what they are producing, the models that they are using, and how those are leading to transformation. Africa has a lot of coaches today than any other profession. Africa has a lot of trainers today doing trainings every other day. We need to see the results that come out of it. And this is what we as OLDN and scholar practitioners in this network would want to see. We are guided by organization development, leadership, people development, and organization research in order to lead socioeconomic transformation in whatever we do. So we have our values, and most importantly is the global intelligence, where we need our members to be part of the global community and to demonstrate that through impact and influence that goes beyond their normal spheres of influence. If you are in Zimbabwe, the influence should go beyond Zimbabwe. And this is what technology has brought. I have colleagues who we ask to participate in our conversations. They are known globally. Why? Because of the social networks, the social systems that they are part of. But from where we come from as Africans, this is still a big challenge in terms of getting the social system or social network that supports the growth and development of others in what we do. We also need the inclusion of ideas, people, disciplines, and personalities. That's why we accept members across the spectrum at any level to be part of our conversations, because we believe everyone has something to share, no matter how small that is. We have stories to tell, stories that lead real transformation. And those stories can come from the grassroots level. And if we exclude the grassroots level people in our conversations, then we are bound to fail. If we continue to focus on 5-star hotel presentations, webinars and workshops on Zoom and Google Meet and ignore the grassroots level, then we are bound to fail. So we need inclusion of ideas, inclusion of perspectives, inclusion of disciplines across the spectrum. And this happens when Dr. Makuku visits the rural places in Ghana, and she just sits down with one lady in Ghana and have a conversation and just empower that women. If someone in Zambia, Dr. Christine visits the rural area in Zambia and she just sit with one young girl and just have a 5 minutes conversation. And if the same is happening in Nigeria and Dr. Dotun is traveling in the streets, he sees this young man and he sits down with him for 5 minutes and get into conversation with that person, we lead real transformation, which does not require a Zoom session, which does not require a 5-star hotel meeting, but a real transformation. So if the 170 of us start doing those small little things in our communities, we lead change and we make significant impact. So I spoke about the ISODC membership and some of the benefits that we believe members can get, but this every organization or every professional body has. What is more important is real transformation at self level, at family level, and in our different communities. So we want influence from our members. And currently from the members that we have, we're still lacking or lagging behind in terms of real influence, in terms of real impact, in terms of that curiosity and courage, in terms of loving and working, just demonstrations of love, and in terms of being part of a community and leading in the community engagements and activities that we do, inspiring others and showing compassion to the people we meet on the streets or everywhere we go. This is all that we are asking for from members, from people who interact with us. Yes, we can talk of profiles. We need people to have big profiles and all that, but this has failed a lot of our countries. This has failed a lot of our societies when people start focusing on getting titles and positions and privileges while ignoring influence, impact, inspiration and compassion, loving and working, and showing courage in the different areas that we engage. So this, from where I stand, when I look at the network, from where I stand, when I evaluate the progress that we have done as a network, for me, I look at these points. I don't care if Dr. Christine is promoted to become Vice Chancellor of 5 universities, good enough, we celebrate. But if Dr. Christine is showing influence, if she's inspiring others in Zambia, if she's showing compassion for people in Zambia and across the globe, if she's showing a lot of curiosity in what she's doing, loving and working, then we'll say, oh, we have made a significant impact. And if the same is happening in Botswana and Mr. Emmanuel is demonstrating a lot of positive influence, impact, inspiring others and compassion for others, then we say we are progressing as a network. So we are not being guided by an instrumental mindset where people drive big cars. Yes, we need to see every of our members driving big cars, having big positions, speaking in a lot of international forums and all that, but this has failed a lot of other social institutions that we see globally. So as members of this network, we need to focus on the influence that we are making, the impact that we are making even at your family level. It's not impact at organizational level or at national level, but just being a good husband, just being a good wife, just being a good brother in our families. This is what we are looking for. All right, so we have on our My OLDN platform, we have the CPPD assessment, continuous personal and professional development. This is for individual members. And we will not force people to do it, but we believe as a community of scholars and professionals, it's important that we cultivate that culture of evaluating our personal and professional development because I think most of us provide workshops and seminars and we speak about these things in different organizations. So we need to cultivate that culture of reflection and continuous development in whatever we do. And key milestones, what we have achieved so far, we managed to have quite a number of conversations demonstrating our global impact. And we have been supported greatly with the American University, their distinguished professors, supporting what we do as small as we are. And we appreciate that. We also appreciate Dr. Rommel from Abu Dhabi School of Management for supporting us. And we have seen Mr. Emmanuel presenting with UBS in India, which is a milestone to see some of our young professionals coming up and taking the challenge to present different parts of the world. And we have set our board, which is something that we appreciate, and we appreciate Mrs. Funbi Matthew for taking that role as we look forward to more transformations in whatever we do. We have held a number of conversations with a global impact, and we have received positive feedback, not just because we have held conversations or social politeness, but people actually having stories to tell after facilitating these conversations. We have also held our international forums, but these international forums will not be closed until we see a global report, and the report going into different institutions and seeking recommendations from different institutions that we are targeting. So for people in banking, we need to see them discussing their report with their CEOs in different organizations. For people in community and organization development, we need to see them with the reports in the different ministries, different organizations and NGOs that they work with, and demonstrating that impact in whatever we do. Mrs. Morin is working 24 hours a day with the ICE segment. And I take this opportunity to sincerely appreciate the effort that she is putting on the ICE segment and the women reorientation and capacity development. I know the frustrations that she's going through. At times you post a message and nobody responds. And she has to post another message to remind people, and still in a group, nobody responds. I fully support whatever you are doing, and hopefully we'll get to where we want to be as a network. She's leading the ICE segment and the Women Reorientation and Capacity Development segment, and we appreciate what she has done. So we are looking forward to the reports that are going to come out of these conversations. And these reports will be our basis to engage different institutions, different ministries in our countries, as we look forward to be part of the World Economic Forum in no much years to come. This is where we need to see ourselves and say, as OLDN, we have Dr. Dotun representing us at the World Economic Forum, and is going to speak about our reports and whatever we are doing. And we start making that impact at international level. We need to see these reports being discussed at national level, to say there's a community of scholars and practitioners that are advocating for certain reforms in banking, and we ignite insightful conversations in the different segments that we have. So we have had a number of conversations from our professional certification point of view, where we are running the 6 months program. And I take this opportunity once again to appreciate EcoBank in Zimbabwe. They've accepted our students to do their work placement activities in terms of the action learning. It's something that is humbling to see an institution opening their doors to say your professional students can come and implement certain interventions in this organization and try to work and co-create certain interventions. Is something that we appreciate. We also have the same in Ghana with an insurance company that has opened its doors for us. And two of our colleagues will be working with that institutions to co-create certain interventions. The same is happening in Botswana, where we're also having an institution that is going to open its doors and have our students participate in co-creating certain interventions in that organization. So we are moving away from theoretical approach to learning to actually having action learning projects and people working in real projects and sharing their experiences in that respect. And once again, I appreciate the professors that supported us from the US. And Dr. Makuku, I need recommendations of more professors in Africa, those who understand transformation, those who really understand the need for development, because it's worrisome that for some of us, we are still young professionals, and we reach out to a lot of these professors in universities, and they give us a cold shoulder when we are just asking for simple thing like having a 20 minutes conversation with our students. So we need your support, and Dr. Christine and others on this network, reference to scholars and practitioners who really understand transformation, who really understand scholarship in total, to support our learning activities, just like we are receiving from colleagues in the West. It's something that requires research from where I stand. If I write an email to Professor Mashak in American University, I get a response in 24 hours. But if I write to my colleagues back home in Africa, I rarely get responses, and it's quite worrisome in that respect. So we need those scholars and professionals who understand scholarship to partner with us. We just need 30 minutes conversations with young professionals. Just sit with young professionals, share your experiences, and help us in co-creating interventions to lead our communities forward. So we have held a number of conversations. I will not spend time on that. I will close by speaking about the upcoming events in terms of where we are going. The first one is the one we are co-hosting with UNICAF University in Zambia, looking at practical integration of employees in an organization as a performance strategy. And this is not a once-off conversation, it will be a series of conversations. But again, it depends on those in HR, those leading organizations opening up their doors to say, we need to co-create solutions for our institutions. We need to rebuild, to re-engineer our corporations in Africa and beyond. So we are looking forward to working with quite a number of HR professionals, senior leaders, those leading the SME sector, and those who are passionate and committed to people development, and co-create certain solutions on integrating employees in an organization as a performance strategy. We are also going to have the Students Rethinking Education and Learning Forum, which we are combining with the education and health segment. This will be on the 22nd of May, and much appreciation to the coordinator and team leader there, young students, Esther and Andrew, for coordinating this session. And I also know the frustrations. These are just students in university, 3rd and 4th year students. They're in a group with professionals. They send a message in a group with professionals, nobody responds. And it's something that is worrisome from our approach to professionalism, and something that we really need to look at as we mentor young students. And most of the young students on that group are always asking to say, why exactly are we here? We are not receiving any mentorship, any support. So something has to be done with our approach to support and professional mentorship. And we're also going to have an HR conversation this month on the 24th of April. And this will lead to the report from HR. And much appreciation to Dr. Makuku for connecting us with CCOD, College for Community and Organization Development in Ghana. And we are working on having a harmonization of OD research and practice in Africa, and bringing together those who are practicing OD, sitting together and collaborating rather than competing against whatever we are doing. So it's something that we are looking forward to having as a network. And we are also invited at the ISODC International Conference. And we have 4 of our members who are going to be representing us, 30 minutes presentation every day from the 25th to to the 27th of May. So we have Dr. Dotun, who will speak on the first day. Mrs. Kurai Makumbe in Zimbabwe will speak on the second day. And on the third day, we have Mr. Barialai from Afghanistan, speaking about what is happening in Afghanistan and how the network is supporting them. And we are also having two of our OLDN TV presenters, Blessing Dolo and Samantha Sales, hosting those programs as we make those presentations. And we are also expecting some of our members to be presenting their papers at that conference. Two have confirmed, and we do hope they will be able to do that. OLDN TV, we invite members to speak about whatever they are doing, no matter how small it is. In most instances, we are forced to go back to Dr. Makuku, Dr. Christine, and say we invite you back to OLDN TV, which should not be the case. Every member on the network has something to share. No matter how small it could be, it's transformational if we package it in the right way. So we encourage every of our members to participate on those conversations and support each other in that respect. And much appreciation to Mr. Anurag Azarika and his wife, Mrs. Samkisha. They came into the network, they took up the challenge, and they're always on the front seat. We had an interview with Mrs. Samkisha. On Sunday, we have an interview with the husband. The husband is participating on the HRLS session. The wife is participating in the student session, and we need the same from all members. But currently, we struggle to get people to present, and we are 170 members on our network. So it confirms the challenge that those in the labor market, those in HR are struggling to get people to fill certain positions. Because if among the 170 of us, we struggle to get 2 presenters, it means we still have a long way to go as a network. So we need support from everyone to participate in these forums. Dr. Makuku will send a message when she sees some flyers, because our flyers tend to be biased towards a certain race. And immediately Dr. Makuku will send me a message to say, what is going on? And I always respond to say, Doc, I am struggling to get our colleagues to participate. I send messages, I don't get response. And I'm forced to then go to my colleagues on the other side of the world. So we need to awaken ourselves as members of this network and participate. Currently, we have about 20 people on the network who I know if I write a message, they will respond immediately and they will participate. But we are trying to run away from the bias of having Dr. Christine on our session every other time. Until we get everyone on the network participating, we need then to come back to Dr. Christine. We are waiting for the board resolution on the conference for this year, which we are most likely going to hold virtually. And Mrs. Funbi Matthews will confirm the position that the board took. We were supposed to have that conference in Rwanda, but I think with the COVID-19 situation, we will not be able to do that. And a board resolution was passed, which I'm waiting for confirmation before we communicate our next step on that conference. And we are working on our sustainable development project. We started our refurbishment of a preschool in rural Zimbabwe. And by next month, we'll be able to show evidence of what we are doing, as small as we are, in providing education to those who are underprivileged. And we also have quite a number of students that we are supporting through the engagements that we are doing here. And we'll not be able to show pictures of that because it's not important, but that's part of our sustainability programs. And our MA program, we are developing, and we look forward to have that working with one institution going into the future. Our publication, we also expect members to contribute to that publication. And we are not looking for scholarly articles with a lot of statistical or quantitative analysis and stuff. We are just providing a platform for members to have their voice heard, put their minds to paper, and we package it, we publish it, and people will learn something from it. We want to move away from the demands of contemporary scholarship, which places more emphasis on the format of research without the practice and the application of that research. So we need stories about the application of research rather than the format of research. Quite a number of other organizations that are in the field that we represent. We are not the only ones in OD, and we don't expect to be the best in the world. We just expect to serve our mission and to fulfill our mission and values. So we collaborate with all other institutions across the globe that are delivering the same mission as we are doing. As I close, the OLDN exists to facilitate leading edge insight and practice in OD through OD-informed publication, the provision of a platform for information exchange, a forum for debate on organization leadership and development issues, and a network of emerging and existing OD professionals. The network promotes competence-based networking, education, and collaboration in organization leadership and development. Thank you so much for listening to this. We are a young institution, always curious and forever young. We'll continue to develop, we continue to evolve, and we look forward to a better future, a brighter future ahead. Thank you so much. I will ask for questions, contributions to this discourse. I think I've taken a lot of time.
Thank you, Doc. Without taking much time, thank you for a well-prepared and highly informative report. And I don't know how many people now are on Facebook, because here we are, how many?
There's 11 of us, yeah.
Okay, and on Facebook, how many do we have? I don't know.
I can't see the comments, yes.
What I only want to say is that I wish people could have time to actually give themselves time to such important meetings, because for this meeting, if at all we are saying that it's for the members of this network, we would expect to have many people coming on board. But what I think will happen is that as some people come on board, they just want to be part of a group, not really active or doing anything. And at the end of the day, we just count their heads without doing much. And secondly, I think there's also a case of time constraints. If we check at people who are in this specialist area of organization development, that is their field, that is their area. And it spreads across all the other specialist areas. And when people from other sectors do come in, I don't think they have as much time as those who are already in OD, who live OD, and it's their specialist area. I just want that point to be taken on board, because many times when I want to attend the sessions, sometimes it's just because of time constraints, but I always want to catch up. Having said that, I just want to visit some of the key issues which you raised. In terms of connecting the network or called itself with other people whom you may be struggling to get hold of, I think if I know, I will do my best to do that. If only I know. I think I started knowing about the challenge when we discussed that flyer. But linking with that, I just want to say we can continue to improve, because what you have spelled out of what has been done is quite enormous. And we continue to have more room for improvement. What I would suggest also is that we could take a lot of case studies and push them in. Not that we haven't been doing that, but I wish we could get more and more case studies. And then my issue is the issue of institutional visibility of those who are in OD in Africa. And that can be done through that participation in international events, in our national events, and also intra-Africa activities. And I don't know why these intra-Africa activities would really be a challenge, mainly because maybe of our attitudes, and maybe also people are selfish. They just want, they think if they are on their own, they can do more. But within the network, we also need to throw some messages which show that networking, teamwork, and collaborations are the things that can get us there. So we need to rethink of other activities that we can incorporate. And then I just want to talk also about our pride. You know, this I don't even mince my words. And I've been very happy that you said it, that if somebody is not doing well, we don't just polish and say, this is good, this is what. No, 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 no. But in relation to that, I want to talk of ourselves, not priding ourselves in who we are as a people. And by so doing, we subject ourselves to abuse, to being undermined, and all these things. And these are the things which we should also talk about. I just want to give a quick example to say, if somebody bleaches their skin, it means they are saying, no, being black is not good. I would rather be white. And even our mental thinking, the mind which has been colonized, it still needs decolonization. Why can't we think of ourselves as equals? In any case, people do not know that some of those major inventions and developments, the air cons, the traffic lights, were done by Black people in Europe, in America. So I don't know where and how we miss it. So, Doku, decolonizing the mind is part of the work that we also need to do in OD, because all these other issues and challenges we are talking about is also about colonized minds. People still think in other words, and we need to change people's mindsets. And then the last one is that let's also quickly rope in those new initiatives, innovations, and what is surrounding us in the continent in order to make sure that we continue to be relevant and we continue to be seen where it really matters. For example, I think I briefly did something on the African Continental Free Trade Area. The discussions should go on very, very quickly. People should be educated. People should know what is going on, because OD is about organization development. It is the organizations who should be involved in every component and aspect that makes a continental free trade and international trade. And we are the people. So where are we at this point in time? And I just want to congratulate you again about what you did with UNICAF and the tangibles that you have done. I don't want to take much time, but these are some of the things that I wanted also to contribute. The last thing is that even in our partnerships, sometimes what I don't really like and appreciate is that the conversation on partnership and collaboration, and there is work to be done. Then somebody proposes to you, Dr. Justin or Dr. Makuku, you are going to get 20% and I'm going to get 80%. Where is that coming from? And in most cases, for example, here in AAU, we sometimes say when we are initiating a collaboration or something like that, where money is involved, we listen. So what is your proposal? It comes again, AAU 20% and us 80%. Why you 80% and us 20%? People don't fight for a position. And in most cases, those who get 20%, they are doing the donkey work. You are doing the marketing. You are doing the enrollment. You are doing the teaching assessment. And at the end of the day, you get 20%. Why not claim 80% or 50-50? Come the certificate. What is on the certificate? And when I find these things, I feel that we need to stand for them. Okay, that's my last one. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll come back to you because I understand Dr. Christine wants to go for a prayer meeting in about 5 minutes. Dr. Christine. Okay.
I would like to commend you, Dr. Justin, I think for what has been done. Like Dr. Makoko has indicated, it's actually quite a lot of issues and things that have been done, and that should be commended. And as you were speaking, I came up and I wrote something: leadership that matters transforms others, because that is exactly that has been done here. It's about transforming others. I'd just like to say something. I'm evaluating a project for Huddersfield University in the UK that they're doing in the community. And as I sat down with about 12 young girls, these are girls that are out of school, girls that have got babies, they are not married. Some of them were raped. As a result, they now have these babies. And I sat there, and exactly like you were saying, it's about adding value, because I sat there and one of the things that first came out was, I wish I had money to probably send these girls back to school. But they're in the rural area where that is not even possible for them. I don't even have the money that can actually be able to do that. But it's about leaving a trail right there where they are. And I sat down with these girls and tried to ask them, you need to go back to school. But going back to school does not mean you need to go and get a nursing job. You don't need to go and get a teaching job. It's going back to school so that you get the awareness, the education that you need, so that you can begin to use the initiatives, the skills that you already have, the talents that you already have, so that you begin to think out of the box and do something better with your life and for the child that you have. And so I think that is very, very important. Adding value wherever we are, I think, is the most important thing. Then we are going to bring about the right transformation and leave the effect that leaves a meaningful trail. People will talk about us. And I think that is very important, because when you try to blow yourself up there so that people can know that yes, we are here, and then there's little that is happening at the grassroots, I think then will be of no value. But when it begins to come from the grassroots and people are able to talk about us and tell of the trail that we have left, I think that is the most important. So well done. And I like the model like you have explained it. And I wish that all of us can pick that. And when we pick that and are doing that in different countries where we are, I think in 10 years' time, that might even be longer, we will be the talk of the towns, we will be the talk of the nation, and ODL should be able to stand out. So thank you so much for that. And I'm very proud that I can actually be able to contribute in one way or another.
Thank you so much for that. Mr. Noble, you started with us, then I'll go to Yvonne. We have 4 minutes. I had scheduled this for 1 hour. Mr. Noble.
Yes, thank you, Doctor, for the opportunity, and also thank you for quite a good presentation. It was it's like being reintroduced to OLDN once again. So I think my contribution and my take from the presentation is actually towards the end of your presentation, when you're talking about making contribution in terms of writing of journal articles and projects. So I was actually thinking to myself to say, I've always been someone who was actually scared of writing or scared of academic writing. But as you said towards the end, to say this is not a platform to actually display your knowledge of methodology or research methodology, but this is a platform where someone is given an opportunity to express what they are thinking and that they should be put in paper and be talked about. I think it really makes a difference, Doc, because most of us, we are actually scared to say writing a paper or presenting a research paper. So I think it's actually a good approach to say whatever someone is thinking in their head, talk about it. Come, let's have it. Let's repackage it and share it with the world. So I think that's my take, Doc. Thank you so much for that.
Thank you so much. I think it's the way that we view scholarship. When we are supervising students, we tend to put that fear in writing, but we need to encourage everyone. Everyone has an idea to share, and everyone needs to be given a platform to do that. We are in the 21st century. There are different ways to do that. Research, it's packaged for contemporary scholarship, but transformational messages are coming through other means, which are not actually formatted in the way of an academic journal. Most academic journals, I know this for a fact, most of these people who are publishing academic journals, they're just publishing them because they get promotions in their institutions. If you ask them about that article that they wrote last year, they have no clue what they wrote about that article. And most of the articles that they are publishing, you realize that it's more of a Google search. I do that with some of my undergraduate students to say, write an article about and present a paper about marketing strategies in the 21st century. And they make good presentations, undergraduate students, same as what professors are publishing in scholar practitioner journals or scholarly journals. So it's of no value in 21st century thinking. What is needed is more the practice, putting to practice whatever is researched on. But most of our professors in academic institutions, they're just busy publishing these papers and nothing is happening on the ground. So we need to correct that situation. And thank you so much for bringing that. Yvonne.
Okay, good evening, Dr. Justin, and good evening to the members who are on this platform today. Thank you very much for organizing this forum. I think it was a timely refresher, and that was really important. From the way I see it, I think it's just showing that there's a lot of, I don't know what it could be that is causing people not to participate fully in the aspirations or provisions and objectives of the network, because the statistics that you have given in terms of the numbers of membership versus active members is somewhat disconcerting. So not knowing whether this would have been done earlier or whether it's something that can then be pursued, maybe to commission a membership engagement survey just to dipstick and understand the issues that are frustrating or working against that participation that we desire, so that we really then come up with targeted interventions that would then speak to those issues. Yeah, so I think that from the way that I'm seeing it, I think that will probably then steer some of the members to becoming more active. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And it's something that is happening also across professional bodies. The way professional bodies are structured, even the chartered professional bodies, is that they give people certificates and people put certificates on their walls, and that's it. I have been a member of a number of professional bodies just to see what is happening there. Most of them did not even engage with me for 1 year. I only received email when they want membership subscriptions, renewal of subscriptions. This is happening with the chartered bodies. And I think most of us are part of some of those chartered professional bodies. You do the exams, you get the certificate, you just receive some emails about updates and newsletters if they do, and that's it. And we're trying to correct that by saying we need to actually engage in our different activities, not for the benefit of OLDN, but for you to expand your practice and to be recognized in your practice as a banker or an HR practitioner or an engineer, being active and being vocal in different engagements. So we are fighting that deep rooted challenge where the chartered bodies are not active as they are expected to be doing. And people are now used to just getting a certificate, and some get promotions using those certificates. Dr. Makoko.
Yes, thank you very much, Doc. You know what? I want to thank Yvonne for raising that issue, because in my concluding remarks, I wanted to say, let's do a survey. What I have particularly told you is simply one of the dimension of, maybe two, which I raised, of the dimension of time constraints, that if a person is not 100% into OD, that's one, we will verify. Number two, also, it depends with the quantity of activities that are done for the network in a week and how they are distributed. But just to wrap up, I want to say, let's frame a survey, maybe on Google Forms or Survey Monkey, whatever you have from your side. But we can brainstorm on the kind of questions that can be included in that survey. It's to find the needs analysis, the constraints, or the new things which you may be surprised about, of what people may also suggest. Because like you are saying, it's true, some of these networks and some of these chartered institutes, they just call for money. They don't care about people, they don't communicate with them, yet you do communicate a lot. But we want now to check on the nature of the activities and their coverage, their time distribution, and all those dimensions. I think it will help us a lot. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. We'll work on the survey. We did our survey at the end of 2020. We were 150 on the network. The challenge, we only received responses from the usual members. So we did a survey, Survey Monkey, just go there, 3 minutes survey, tick, 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 and send us back. We only received 18 out of 150.
We have the wrong people then.
Thank you. Thank you.
Sorry, it could be the issue on the recruitment drive, possibly, Doc. In terms of how intentional are we in the targeting of the membership for the network. It is well and good to spread our net across, but then we do end up with this challenge of then having foot soldiers, as it were, being put up by few who are quite active. So I think maybe if it means that we did the survey and there was that type of response, it means then we need to ask deeper questions.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that. Mr. Priority. Anyone else with a contribution? Can you show by raising your hands? I don't want to hold us for long. Mr. Priority, go ahead.
Oh, okay. Oh, thank you very much, Idoku. Good evening, everyone. Thank you very much for your comprehensive presentation, which is good and interesting. We are going to extend to have 2 hours because all the points we're listening. But I think my comment was coming in with your last comment in terms of the participation from some of our colleagues and even ourselves sometimes. And I have checked in the chat when someone was saying this we are all equally concerned with participation which we are seeing in our guys, our other colleagues. But I would like to understand. I understand that the membership certificate it is valid only for a year, which if we are to be considered in terms of the renewal of those membership, whenever we are to engage the individuals, so maybe we might require to ask for some commitment, and maybe to say within a period of 1 year, you are maybe required at least 5 presentations, at least you have 10 appearances. It might be a staged meeting with this one and so forth, where we are recording some individual appearance. So maybe failing to attend to those standards, your membership it will be automatically revoked. So I think it was my line of thinking to say that to have such standards, it will also help to stimulate and to conduct the participation from our members. Today, whenever we are to deliver information of the membership, it will just come with some standards. We need a 10 appearance in Zoom, and it to be one of our 8 segments. One of our 8 segments, and also measuring the participation. Because there's one thing which I liked about this charter code. You know, if I'm to take to myself, I was someone who was also chasing social promotions at workplace. But through networking and understanding of some important matters, I'm no longer doing that. I'm now realizing that it's not promotions which are chasing me, because I've mastered.
We are getting some background noise from your mic.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But I think I wanted to just comment on other issues which we are learning, other skills, which are important things in our life, which I think all members need to consider that. Not only considering to be a certificate or to get something, but we are getting other things which are more important than certificates, than even myself. Because sometimes if you have to give me man dog without a skill, I will 100% squander that man. But if I'm to get money if I'm to get a skill and a technique and an advice with $1 which I have, I can make a progress from it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I try to run away from approaches where we put people in a box and we start ticking attendance and all that. It worked in the 20th century, but today when someone makes a commitment, I work with other institutions, ISODC. I'm a member of Scholars Academic and Scientific Society. When I sign a commitment form, I always make sure that I schedule my commitment to their activities. So it's something that we just need people, and when you're called a professional, and you're really true to that, when you commit to say, I'm working for this organization, you have to give you 100%. So when you accept certain responsibilities, you have to do. At times when I'm attending some of these workshops, I realize I may be the last person to reach that meeting, and I evaluate and check myself to say, what exactly am I doing? So we need a model where people be responsible to their commitment. And ticking registers and stuff, it works, but for me, it doesn't work well, especially when we're dealing with adults, professionals, and things like that. We have seen a lot of people on LinkedIn. Now I don't really review people's profiles on LinkedIn, because most of those profiles don't say anything. Who people really are, you will see them when we engage in these kind of conversations and in these kinds of engagement. And we need also to have accountability partners among ourselves. Someone who holds you accountable. Now, when I'm posting certain things on LinkedIn, I know Dr. Makuku is going to see that post. So it changes how I post that article, because I know I have accountability partner. Someone is checking on me. And when I call myself an OD person, I know someone is checking on me. And it's something that we just need people to develop among themselves. That's why we opened members and we did not take people's money. From when we started, the issue of collecting membership fees was raised. And because I anticipated people will not be active, I said, I don't want to take people's money. And then they will say, oh, this network, we paid our money and all that. People start talking all sorts of things. Until we get people who are committed, then we can structure activities that will require a small commitment fee. And one school of thought said when people pays for the membership, they will engage, which again doesn't work well in terms of pushing people to participate just because they put their money on it. So we hope as we evolve, we'll get some methodologies and members who are committed to the practice. I remember in our first session, Dr. Makuku mentioned that a tree sheds its own leaves. So we are going to have certain people, we shed them, they go by the roadside until we get the right members who are committed to the mission and to the vision that we are pushing forward. Anyone else with a burning contribution so that we don't stay here for long? Can we hear a voice from Botswana, Madam Bontle? Botswana.
Good evening, Doc.
Yes, ma'am.
And everyone on the platform this evening. Thank you, Doc. You've been missing my voice because I've not been active. And sorry about that. I just wanted to thank you, Doc, for the update. It's so insightful. And I want to also mention that you are making us very comfortable on this platform, particularly some of us who are not scholars. It's so easy and natural for us to make comments. It's so easy for some of us to also follow. You know, I'm also new in this OD thing, but you know, I'm becoming comfortable to participate. Whenever I tune in, I become so glued to, you know, to my Zoom meetings. Thank you very much, and good evening, everyone.
Thank you so much. Dr. Segun, thank you so much for following us on Facebook. And thank you so much for opening opportunities to our members on Chartered Institute of Leadership and Governance Nigeria. We appreciate you and thank you so much for the support. A voice from Nigeria, I see Azubike, you started with us. And then I think we can close.
Doc, before you close, I'm almost about to go, but I have one word also.
Yes. Mr. Azubike Kingsley.
Yes, good evening, Doc, and good evening to everyone. I'll say that I've been encouraged. I've been also quite informed about some of the goals of the network. I believe that I'll be participating more, even though that where I currently work, I'm kind of very, very busy and engaged. But once I see emails from the network, I also see the post on LinkedIn, follow, and I follow through also. So I'll be making more commitments to the network and to see how I can contribute also some of my skepticism and fears as we assuaged also by what you said regarding writing and publishing. So I think there will be some improvement from my end going forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Every experience that every member on the network has matters to everyone. So we need to share those experiences. We need to cross-collaborate. If you have anything that you're doing in your country, even if you don't go through the OLDN network, reach out to Dr. Makuku, reach out to Emmanuel, and collaborate, and let's push the OD agenda. OD is about collaboration, cooperation, and constellations of strengths. And all these can happen outside of the OLDN network. So I appreciate Dr. Makuku arranged for me personally to be presenting with the Association of African Universities. Much appreciation. We also saw the same from Chartered Institute of Leadership and Governance. We have seen the same from Dare Women for Change Initiative, NatWeb from Mrs. Morin. We have seen Dr. Dotun collaborating with Dr. Malan and Mr. Martin and conducting a workshop in Nigeria. We need those kind of collaborations. It's not about OLDN, it's about each individual member growing and networking for value addition, whatever we do. From my end, I would say thank you, and I will ask Dr. Makuku to close, to give your remarks and vote of thanks, then we'll close immediately.
Me?
Yes.
Doc, for me, I just wanted to request you that if you are sending a link for people to know what transpired in the meeting, that's fine. But I would also want to request if we can have short points of the key issues that have been raised. I think that would be very good. And I think for those people who came earlier, I want to take after Yvonne's comment. Some people just joined, but they don't know. They don't know all this you have presented here. Do people on the platform know? I don't know. But what I also want to commend you, Doc, is that regardless of the forces that are working against you, you try to push, you find things are not happening the way you might have envisaged, you continue to soldier on. And what I also want to really comment about you is something that we have in common, the frankness and this level of just calling a spade a spade. It's what will take the continent forward. Your look into the objectivity of gender issues, I think it's one thing in AAU that we are always going to embrace you for. Many times you will be called. So I just ask you to continue to soldier on. You don't need everybody. Those few who are moving with you, you move along with them. Sometimes we may be there, sometimes we may not be there, other people are there, but the thing is, you have done well. It's so highly impactful. And we just say, continue with the good work. Then maybe to check on how we are recruiting members, that's also equally important so that you are not expended in terms of your energy investing in people who don't the commitment should always continue to grow from one level to another. And the impact, when you make an impact, you are also making an impact for yourself and for your community, for your nation, and for everybody else. And it's impact which matters. I thank you all. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much. In terms of writing reports, we are working with some students who we are supporting with school fees, and I've given them the task to do short press release for every video as they develop their writing skills, and we support them as well. And we are open for any member who is passionate about that and would want to support through writing and all that, and we profile them in small ways that we can. We will always do that. So thank you so much for raising that point. And thank you so much for everyone who attended today's session and those who are following us from through Facebook. We appreciate your presence. We are a young and forever young institution. Continue to nurture our spirit of curiosity as we evolve as an institution rooted in Africa, but making global impact and leading strategic, sustainable change in different parts of the world. Thank you so much.